I have a whole new level of respect for authors right now. I mean, seriously. Last week, I was deep into writing my new book. And when I say deep, I mean, I was working at it for 10 to 12 hours a day. And I was averaging maybe about a chapter and a half a day. And I have to say, writing this book has been quite the journey. Last week, there were moments when I felt really energized and excited because I could see what I've been thinking about for the past 3 years all finally coming together. But there were also moments where I felt completely exhausted because, as you may know this about me, once I get into the details, I really get into the details. And then there were moments where I felt like overwhelmed by the enormity of what I was trying to accomplish. Because when you have spent as many years as I have helping small business owners with all of their branding and their websites and their marketing, their messaging, positioning, social media, SEO, and content marketing, and all of the other pieces that go into building a strong online presence, let's just say there was a lot that I wanted to say in this book. And I mean a lot. And the funny thing is, as I was writing, I kept having those moments where I would think, wait a second, did I explain this enough back in chapter 2? Or maybe I should add another example, or maybe they need to know this before I get to that part. And at one point, I honestly wondered if maybe there should be a 3-part book series so that it didn't end up looking like a volume of the Encyclopedia Britannica. But don't worry, I'm managing to contain myself. But it really got me thinking about something that comes up all the time in marketing. Because the hardest part of writing this book has not been coming up with enough to say. The hardest part has been deciding what to leave out. Not because the information or the examples wouldn't be useful at all, or adding in some tactics would not be helpful. It was that I had to keep reminding myself the purpose of this book. It is not meant to turn the reader into another me. They do not need to know everything that I know. Heaven forbid. They do, however, need enough to understand how to position their business more clearly so that they can attract the leads and the clients that they want in order to grow their business. So this meant I have to stay focused on what the book is really about and remembering that promise I am making to the reader. It also means having to protect them from overwhelm, even when I am tempted to give more, because more is not always a good thing, even if it's against my nature wanting to share everything I know. And this is exactly where I see entrepreneurs and small business owners getting themselves into trouble with their marketing and not even realizing it. They try to say, include, or explain way too much. And they list every method, modality, and process that they bring to their clients. They also want to help every audience they possibly can so that they don't miss out on potential income. And when I really think about why this happens, I don't think it's always just a marketing problem. I think a lot of it comes from wanting people to understand the full value of what we know and what we can do. We want people to trust our expertise so that we keep adding more information, thinking that if we explain it all just a little bit better, they'll finally see why we're the better choice. And honestly, I get that. Guilty as charged. When you've worked hard to gain your knowledge and experience, it can feel really uncomfortable to leave parts of it out in your marketing or book, as the case may be. But the thing is, more information doesn't always create more trust. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're emphatically stating, Susan, you don't understand. This information matters. People need to understand this. This is part of what makes me different. And if you offer a long list of services, Let's add in, if I don't mention this service, what if somebody doesn't realize I offer it? And underneath all of that, there's often a real fear. The fear that if you choose one direction, one audience, and one core message, or one main thing that you want to be known for, you might be walking away from potential income. And that's a big one. And I think this is why so many business owners resist narrowing their message. It can feel like focusing means missing out on income generating opportunities. But here is where I want you to think about this differently. When your marketing tries to chase every possible opportunity, it often ends up weakening the very message that would have attracted the right people because they are not reading your website or your social media posts with the same level of interest and patience that you had when you were writing those pieces of content. They are busy and in a hurry. They are trying to figure out very quickly if you understand their problem, if they trust you, and if you are the right person to help them. So if your message is packed with too much information, too many directions, and too much explanation, they are going to stop paying attention. What ends up happening is your message is making them work way too hard to see if what you offer is relevant to them and their specific situation. When I work with new clients, they often come in thinking that adding more will make the message stronger and boost their conversions. And once I explain how effective brand positioning works, they start to see that more explanation, more services, more pages, more credentials, and more process details are not always the right answer because all of that stuff rarely creates more trust. In fact, it often creates confusion or hesitation. It could make your ideal client feel like they are just not sure if you are really speaking to them. This is why positioning is not just about crafting the perfect position statement. It is about knowing what to edit out, what to stop leading with, and what needs to move into the background, and what can be saved for a later conversation. And of course, if you are a visionary, what to put on your not now list. Because I know the ideas are coming fast and furious all the time for you. And I do love that not now phrase because it's more realistic than just shutting down your whole idea flow. You're just saving it for another time to consider. Sometimes an idea is good, but it's just not right for where your business is right now. And a service can be very useful. It's just not the one that you should be leading your marketing with right now. And sure, a new tactic could work, but if the foundation underneath it is not clear, that tactic is going to struggle to achieve the results that you want. That is what I kept having to remind myself while writing the book. Just because I can say more does not mean I should. Just because I know more does not mean the reader needs all of it right now. Just because something is useful does not mean that it belongs in this version, chapter, or in this particular moment. And honestly, that was not an easy thing for me to do. It took discipline to stay focused on my main objective for writing the book, just as it is in marketing and in business as well, because choosing what matters most means you have to stop chasing everything else for a while. Don't worry, I don't mean forever, just for now. And I know that can feel uncomfortable, especially if you are a service based business owner and you have several things that you could offer and have the ability to help a wide range of people. But that does not mean all of them should be front row and center in your marketing. Your marketing needs to be focused with a clear job to help the right people understand what you are known for, why that matters to them, and why your business is the best choice for their needs. That becomes very hard to do when your message is trying to pull people in 10 different directions. So, before you add one more thing to your website or your service page or your social media content or your next campaign, ask yourself 3 questions first. Does this support what I want to be known for? Does this matter to my ideal client? And does this support the direction I want my business to grow in? If the answer is yes, then great, you're good to go. But if the answer is no, or if you are trying to convince yourself that it does belong because you are afraid of missing out on something, then maybe it needs to go on your not now list. And I want to be clear here, your not now list is not where your incredible ideas go to die. It is simply where good ideas can sit while you stay focused on the strategy that matters most right now. Because effective marketing comes from knowing what matters most and having the discipline to let that lead. Even when a part of you worries, you might be leaving something on the table. That is what I had to keep reminding myself while writing the book. The reader does not need to learn everything I know. They need the right things in the right order so they can actually absorb it, use it, and make progress. And your ideal client is the same. They do not need every single detail about everything that you can do. They need to understand the right things that help them trust you and see that you truly understand what they are experiencing. That is the difference between marketing that simply explains and marketing that positions. One tries to cover everything, and the other helps people put what you do through the lens of what they are going through. If you're not sure whether your marketing is trying to say too much, that is exactly why I created the Brand Clarity and Gap Audit. It will help you look at where your brand message and marketing may be unclear, inconsistent, or out of alignment so that you can start spotting what needs to be strengthened, refined, or maybe even moved into your own not now list. You can download it at brandclarityaudit.com. Until next time, I'm Susan Friesen, your small business brand positioning strategist, inviting you to stay clear, stay focused, and stand out.